Well, Gary, it's not very nice outside, pouring down with rain, but as for on the pitch, how's life at Yeovil Town going into, what, mid-October now?
I mean, what would you say? It's not very nice. let me into that a little bit. Some of it's nice, and some of it's not very nice. And we're a group that we've seen what we can do. We're a group that's not consistent yet at the game that we want to play to do well, like we did Walsall, Bradford, Peterborough. And we're as good in some games as we've been. And then we have a little spell where we shoot ourselves in the foot with either a mistake. This week it was a sending off. And up until that point, the game was pretty equal against another one of the top teams. So it's still early days, even though we're having to fine tune. That's why I brought in Geordie Yeovil, who had actually on the day 3 or 4 very good chances. I was pleased that he got into those positions, and now all we're hoping is that he starts finishing them off now. He's had his debut and the nerves that go with a league debut.
Yeah, you can't account for things like red cards. Do you think you're getting close to finding that consistency? Are you seeing progress there on the training ground?
Yeah, we are, and we know that every single one of our lads is better than what they've shown on occasions, albeit putting the ball in the back of the net, stopping an opposition, get a shot in, or whatever it is, goalkeeper making a save. And we won't know really until we hit a consistent patch, whether that be good form or bad form. Do you know what I mean? Mm. But we know we've got it in us, and me, Terry, Darren, Gareth, we're working very, very hard with them to try and get a pattern and a shape that they're all comfortable with, and then get them to bring out their best game within that pattern, within that shape.
Yeah, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think we're both very positive people. Are you looking up the league table rather than over your shoulder at the moment?
Well, we are, because there's more above us than there are below us. So we are looking more up the league table. But I mean, what is it? 6 points away from after 11 games, teams are going to fall by the wayside sometimes. You mustn't be too far away, but it is still early. And we've always said we've got to put those 2 or 3 wins together. And if we could have done that when we played Crewe at home and Scunthorpe at home, and where we dropped points, then we'd have been up there where we feel that we should be. But it's all right dreaming about where you want to be, but you've got to make sure that you are there. So we just got to keep the boys confident at the same time while you're telling them where they need to do better. Mm. And there's a thin line between that, because some of them see that as not quite bullying. That's the word of the week, isn't it, with these books coming out? But you have to tell them, and then you hope they take it on board. That gives them the confidence to go, the gaffer's telling me to do this, he must think I'm good at it, I'm going to put it into practice.
And if you want an appreciation of how tough League One is, I'm just looking at the teams there or there around in the league table. I think Walsall, who I'm only ever heard good things about, they've got the same amount of points as you. Leyton Orient below you. Yeah. You've got Barnsley. So there are a number of teams still trying to find their level, aren't you?
Yeah, there are. There's certain teams have hit the ground running, and they're sort of like generally the teams that have spent the most maybe in pre-season. And so everybody, in my opinion, is pretty much of a muchness, and everyone definitely can beat everyone else on the day. So you've got to find that game that is very hard to beat. We haven't got that game right this minute. We have on occasions, but on occasions we haven't. Teams like Bristol City have got that game right now where they're hard to beat. Milton Keynes have got that game where they're hard to beat. And I'm sure they're getting a little bit of luck on the way, like you do when you're up there. So at the moment, the other teams have all got to work very hard to earn what they get, and to get 2 or 3 wins on the trot isn't easy in this league. But that's what you've got to try and do, and you've got to be up there challenging as quickly as you can.
Yeah, just had a chat with your loan keeper. Is it a case of get Saturday out of the way before talking about the loan? Do you have to get Saturday out of the way first before extending it?
I'd like to extend it. I've got to talk with Gary Bowyer, the Blackburn manager, and they've obviously, they're busy as well themselves, preparing for the weekend. But whatever happens, we've got till Monday to do it anyway, and I think the lad seems comfortable enough, and so long as Blackburn are comfortable as well, then hopefully we can keep him for another month.
And there will have to be at least one team change because of the sending off last week. Is Sokolik the obvious replacement to come in, or how is he fitness-wise at the moment?
Yeah, no, he's fine. He's fine, and he is the obvious replacement. They've got a game which is pretty successful for them, in as much as a lot of their goals are scored through their big centre forward up front, and we've got to be able to deal with that. And we've been working on their strengths, but also working on what we think are our strengths, and hopefully they'll help us pick up the points that we need on Saturday.
I think Rob Page has been told he's got until the end of October to impress, so often new managers come in, and especially caretakers, and they seem to play well, don't they? So yeah, it's not going to be easy on Saturday. Port Vale was always a tough place to go.
Yeah, it is. They started off the season very well. Yeah. Mickey Adams and Pagey, but put together a good group there, and they've still got that group. They fell on poor form for a little while, and that's what happens sometimes. But they've still got a decent team, and I know Pagey from our Watford days, and he's a battler, and he'll be a good manager. And I'm sure with this being his first proper job as a manager, he'll want to keep it. And so he was always a warrior, he was always a competitor, and I'm sure he'll be that as a manager, and I've got to be aware of that. And like some of us managers, he's also a nice fella.
And everyone else fitness-wise okay? No other injuries?
No, we've got a few that we've got to leave to the last minute, as you always do, and so I won't know the team exactly until probably Friday night, Saturday morning.
And you mentioned the word bullying earlier, and I was watching Sky Sports News. They were asking the England rugby coach about it, Roy Hodgson. When you write your book, which we're looking forward to one day, will there be a chapter on bullying? Did you ever experience it in your professional career, or generally have you been quite lucky over the years?
I've not. Bullying to me, I've never had. I've had managers and coaches put over their opinion in a strong way, of course, and there's a lot of managers that do that. When Alex Ferguson's giving the hairdryer chat, is that bullying? Would be classed as that, I suppose, in a school. If he was doing it to...
It's looked at now with affection, isn't it, really?
Exactly. Yeah. And it just depends on how the person receiving that information is reacting to it. Some people will react to it and go, he wants me to be a better player. Other people were saying, he's trying to upset me and get rid of me. And so it's a very thin line, because I can say some things that are strong, and sometimes you have to stand back and say it a little bit more informative, if you like, with a softer voice. So what is bullying? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I think it all depends on the person receiving the information and how they take it.
Very much so, and I think occasionally there must have been times when you've shouted at a player and it's produced results. You've done it for the good, the greater good, and they perform better on the pitch. Yeah,
it's very difficult to go in at half time having been 2-0 down, to go in and say, excuse me lads, any chance of you picking up the tempo and livening yourself up, and sometimes, and you can't go in there and act and go, right, today I'm going to try and make out I'm a bully. Players soon suss that out that you're acting, so you have to react to how you feel, and whether you're around with a player, the missus, your kids, whatever it is, sometimes you have to be a little bit stronger in your energy towards what you're giving out, and if that makes people sit up and go and perform, then I think that's what happens. I mean, you see the boxers in the corner when they're on their last leg sort of thing, and the trainer has to get into him a little bit. Think of your family, think of the money, think of your, what you're trying to achieve. You want to win, and all of a sudden they come out fighting, sort of thing, and that's where it is really.
Thank you.
No problem.
Solly Baker and Wingachichi have clearly had an incredibly busy start of the season.
Yeah.
Injuries left, right, and centre. How are they holding out?
Well, I give them a little pep talk every now and again, and no, they're two good lads. They work very hard, and generally you have to at a football club because there's a lot of games and there's a lot of treatment because it's not just the injury. You've got to manage their time. You've got to manage. They're in every Sunday, all injuries. Players get the hump with that on occasions, but we see it as part of their rehabilitation to get fit. We don't want them in a car driving back to London for any reason or back up to Manchester. So it's arranging the itinerary for these players is often hard work as well, and it's a 7-day-a-week job, that's for sure, for both of them.